בסכום מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסכום מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו בגויים כבודו, לכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסכום מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו בגויים כבודו, לכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסכום מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו בגויים כבודו, לכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים.
Shabbat Shalom. In his old age, the great Reb Chaim of Tzantz journeyed to visit a young rabbi known for his religious devotion. The aged Reb Chaim was so impressed with the young rabbi's total focus on Torah study and prayer that he asked the secret of his piety. The young Rav responded, "I just ignore everything else around me and see myself wrapped inside the text." Looking around at the congregation full of people, families, friends, community, people of all ages, a whole community in need of someone to reach out, Reb Chaim replied, "When it is cold and windy, there are two ways to get warm. One is by putting on a fur coat, and the other is by lighting a fire. The difference is this: a fur coat warms only you, but the fire brings warmth to all who come near." Tonight, it is our hope that we can build that fire, metaphorically, we know it's too hot for one inside, metaphoric, here together, both in person and online, as we welcome Shabbat. Sharing Shabbat together, it is guaranteed that we can bring warmth to us all. To be able to do that, we need your help. Be present. Turn off your cell phones, your watches. If you're home, turn off all of the other distractions around you. Join us in congregational readings and in song. Join as we are guided by our bar mitzvah, Isaac Nicholas Gelfond. I invite him, his parents, Jonathan and Cheryl, and his sister, Alexandra, to light our Shabbat candles, bringing this fire to reality on page 3.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us.
As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehalikne shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat. Page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uveratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim kivanu b'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodecha be'ahava uveratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
L'chaim. We continue with Kabbalat Shabbat, our songs welcoming Shabbat, bringing us in to this atmosphere where we can celebrate Shabbat together. Zamru Ladonai Bichinor, page 16.
17, the last paragraph of Hebrew. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu, we exalt God with our singing. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho.
We turn now to page 20. As we begin with Lechado D, we will join together in the chorus, the first section, and then each verse, we will do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And when we reach that 9th verse, Boiva Shalom, we will turn, face the entrance to our sanctuary, beckoning that Sabbath spirit towards us as we sing together. If you are at home, find that sacred space for yourself and still bring in that Sabbath spirit towards you together.
Lechado di likra kala, pene Shabbat mekabela. Lechado di likra kala, pene Shabbat mekabela. Sharmu v'zachor b'dibur echad, ishmianu el meyuchad Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet v'litila. Lechado di likra kala, pene Shabbat mekabela. Lechado di likra kala, pene Shabbat mekabela. Likrat Shabbat l'chor v'nachar, ki mekor ha'beracha merosh, mikedem nesucha, sof maaseh b'machshava tchila. Lechado di likra kala, pene Shabbat mekabela. Lechado di likra kala, pene Shabbat mekabela. Hitoreri, ki
As we greeted the Sabbath bride, turn to one another, greet each other. Let them know that you are glad that they are here next to you, across the room, online. Shabbat Shalom. We turn to page 26 for Hatzi Kaddish as we remain standing through Shema.
Yitkara Shemei Rabba, Amen. Be'amad yivrach rutev, yamnech malchutev, b'chayecha rov yomechon, uv'chayerecha beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uv'izman kariv, v'meru, Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabba mevorach, le'olam olam me'amaya, yitbarach, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar v'yitoma v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitala Shemei Rekodesha, b'richut, leila min kol birchata, v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, tamiran be'alma, v'meru, Amen.
As we turn to page 28 for the Baruch Hu, it is my pleasure to call upon Isaac Nicholas Gelfond, our bar mitzvah, to lead us in the next section of our worship.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. We continue on page 30. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher baruch ma'ariv aravim bechokma poteach she'arim uvitvuna chenei itim umahalif et hazmanim seder et hakochabim b'mishmerotehem barakir kirtzono Borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or umavdil umevi layla umavdil ben yom uven layla Adonai tzivaot shemo el chai v'kayam tamid imloch alenu le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. We continue in the middle of page 32. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We continue on page 34. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. We continue together on page 36. Ve'afta et Adonai Elohecha בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננת לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אמת.
We continue reading responsively on the bottom of page 39. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Together at the top of page 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש.
We rise for the Amidah, which begins on page 46.
Adonai sfatai tiftach, Adonai sfatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai sfatai tiftach, Adonai sfatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elokei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elokei Avraham, Elokei Yitzchak, v'Elokei Yaakov, Elokei Sarah, Elokei Rivka, Elokei Rachel, v'Elokei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, Elyon, Koneh Chasadim Tovim, Vekoneh Hakol, Vezocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei Vneihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh Kol Atah Rav Lehoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechokel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh Kol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim v'Rofeh Cholim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gevurot, U'Nida לעשות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
You may be seated. Together at the top of page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. As part of an opportunity to explore our prayer book more in depth, keep your finger on page 57. We will join together in the Chatimah, that last line in Hebrew, as I share a prayer for you from elsewhere in the prayer book. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. Together, Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha be'ira na'avod. Page 59. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha lecha na'eh lehodot. On page 61, we join together in our prayer for peace. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, eternal one, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Having prayed for peace in the world, we think of those who face the future not fully whole, those who are in need of healing, of mind, of body, and of spirit. We think of them combining the thoughts of those in our own hearts with those on your order of service or on your screen. We take a moment to whisper aloud the names that we would like to have this blessing for today. We join together in the words of Elna Rafan Allah, which are on your order of service on the opposite side of the healing list names. And if you're online, it is the button under the screen.
Dear God of our ancestors,
Dear God of our ancestors,
help us renew our faith.
help us renew our faith.
Grant us a perfect healing.
Grant us a perfect healing.
Bring peace to all our days.
Bring peace to all our days.
Hail Nara Refanala, Refanalanu. Hail Nara Refanala, Refanalanu. Restore our strength of body.
Restore strength of body.
Help clarify our minds.
Help clarify our minds.
Refresh our tired spirits.
Refresh our tired spirits.
Rejuvenate our light.
Rejuvenate our light.
El no refana, refana El no refana, refana El no Please take a moment now for your own silent prayers. Adonai tzori vegoali Adonai tzori vegoali Yehiyu leratzon imrefi Vehegion libi lefanecha Adonai tzori vegoali Adonai tzori vegoali May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai. My rock and my redeemer, Yehiyu leratzon imrefi vehegion libi lefanecha Adonai tzori vegoali Adonai tzori vegoali
This weekend is Tisha B'Av, the 9th day of the Hebrew month of Av, which begins tomorrow night at sundown. Tisha B'Av is an important to note a day that commemorates some of the worst disasters that have affected the Jews. In the Mishnah, it states that there are 5 calamities, including the biblical story of the 12 spies sent to check out the land, which didn't end well as the Israelites were terrified. It also commemorates the destruction of both the first and second temples, then Bar Kokhba's revolt, and another plunder of Jerusalem and the temple in 135 CE. After these 5, many people have also used Tisha B'Av as a day of mourning to remember not only these 5 calamities, but also the First Crusade, expulsions, mass deportations of Jews, upheavals that impacted the Jewish people in many ways, all the way to modern times. While many of these have coincidentally been on or near Tisha B'Av, we use this time to mourn all things that have happened to the Jewish people. As Reformed Jews, it is not common for us to commemorate this holiday. However, I think it is important to discuss the rituals that this holiday brings and how we can understand them today. The main things that are prohibited mirror Yom Kippur's prohibitions. There's a 24-hour fast, no bathing, no makeup, no wearing of leather, and no sex. In a traditional sense, whenever there is a fast, a person is allowed to eat or drink if they consult a rabbi to see if their medical condition would be grounds for having one's restrictions waived. From a Reform perspective, and from my own perspective as a rabbi, I'm happy to talk to someone through their decisions, but I do not feel like I need to be the be-all, end-all for your decision about your own body. In fact, in the Reform Machzor, the prayer book used for High Holy Days, there is a meditation entitled "For Those Who Must Eat During Yom Kippur," which gives a different framing for a fast. It reads, "Rofeh Chol Basar, healer of all living creatures, I thank you for the breath that is in me, for the community of Israel that lives, for the possibilities of today and tomorrow. May my eating be as a fast. May it be dedicated to you, to teshuvah, to the renewal and restoration of my relationship to you, to others, and to myself." What a wonderful reminder of what a fast is actually supposed to be about, and how those same intentions can be applied to eating if it is needed on a fast day or any time. For the past few years, I have been unable to fast for Yom Kippur due to being pregnant or breastfeeding. I felt a keen sense of guilt, a sense that I was doing something wrong and therefore not being a strong enough leader during the High Holy Days, or being a fraud. I felt as if I was living a lie by not fasting. In my journey towards healthy body positivity, I have discovered many Jewish inspirations. The first was Fat Torah, an organization whose goals are: 1, ending weight stigma in Jewish communal life and training Jewish professionals, lay leaders, and community members to confront fat phobia wherever they encounter it, including in themselves. 2, equipping people who already work in fat activism, health at every size, eating disorders recovery, and related weight neutral and body positive fields to recognize and attend to spiritual and religious needs in themselves and those they serve. 3, propagating a methodology of connecting with sacred text, tradition, and spirituality that fosters body liberation for people of all sizes. This group of people has been beyond inspiring to me as we interact online. This also led me to learn about another organization, A Mitzvah to Eat, which offers advocacy, learning, community, and support for those who need to eat on Jewish fast days or do other mitzvot differently to protect their health or save their lives. A Mitzvah to Eat created an anthology full of rituals and readings, poems, and prayers to help guide people through Tisha B'Av in a new way that accepts their bodies for what they are. It has been a really powerful read for me and a new way to allow me to interact with this grief-filled commemorative holiday, which I really didn't connect with at all previously. You see, as a Reformed Jew living in 2022, my connection to the temples in Jerusalem doesn't feel very strong. I understand the meaning of it for those who lived at that time, who used the temples to fulfill sacrificial rites. But it's been a long time since then. We have been living in the diaspora for many, many generations, creating our own rituals and practices that honor the traditions and laws set forth by the rabbis and the Torah itself. As Jews, we have had years of triumphs and tribulations. We have dealt with anti-Semitism and anti-Judaism. The bottom line, we are still here. We have persevered. We are not going anywhere. To do this, Reformed Judaism expresses that we must be able to recognize modernity with the foundations of Torah and rabbinic literature. What can we learn from them in a contemporary understanding? Fat Torah and a mitzvah to eat have given me a new way to understand our texts, rituals, and commemorations in a way that connect to my body and my own body image. Just like our Torah portion, Devarim, which is the beginning of Moses recounting the 40 years journey of the Israelites, we all have a journey to go through. It's not linear. It has a lot of ups and downs. It's not always rainbows and butterflies, but it has its challenges and grief. This is the same for our personal journeys with our own bodies. If we want to educate future generations in being body positive and show how Judaism supports and encourages that, we need to be like Moses and teach them. As an anonymous writer shared their untitled poem within the A Mitzvah to Eat Tisha B'Av anthology, I share with you part of it as a reminder of these important lessons. I ate on Tisha B'Av, a fast day, and I ate on Yom Kippur, our holiest fast day, as we are commanded to live by our commandments and not to die by them. And the saving of life overrules almost everything, including the fast days. And I continued eating, went from restricting to eating healthily. Not fasting reminded me of the beauty of making decisions that can allow our bodies to thrive, the caretaking of our bodies and minds as vessels in which we serve Hashem. Let these words and the focus on body positivity help us to make meaningful choices for our health on upcoming Yom Kippur and maybe Tisha B'Av, which starts tomorrow night. Let us recognize that our bodies can look different than the person next to us and that they are powerful if we let them be. Let us be reminded that our bodies are God's, and if we don't take care of them, we're not taking care of God's creatures and creation. Let us be reminded that our bodies are God's, and we are made in the image of God. Whether we like what we look like, and however we view ourselves in the mirror, we must own the godliness which is in each one of us. Shabbat Shalom. We continue with Aleinu on page 283, and I invite you all to rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שהוא שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגור עלינו להמליך מלכותו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. As we turn to our memorial meditation on page 289, we note with sadness the death of Stephen Lang, husband of Christy Lang, father of Sylvan Lang Jr. and Amy Lang, Ellen Lang and Nathan Lang and Leah Gershon, stepfather of Courtney and Benjamin Graham and Morgan and Nicholas Hull, grandfather of Emily, Alexandra, Ava, Isaac, Levi of blessed memory, Remy, Solomon, and Elizabeth. Page 289. In nature's ebb and flow, God's eternal law abides. When tears dim our vision or grief clouds our understanding, we often lose sight of God's eternal plan. Yet we know that growth and decay, life and death, all reveal a divine purpose. God, who is our support in the struggles of life, is also our hope in death. We have set God before us and shall not despair. In God's hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh. Under God's protection we abide, and by God's love are we comforted. O life of our life, soul of our soul, cause your light to shine into our hearts and fill our spirits with abiding trust in you. Our thoughts turn now to those in our community and extended community who have died at this time in years past. As we mark their yahrzeits, we remember them. Karen Almond, Lily Alterman, Shelley Altman, Nellie Ambrose, Bert Balbert, Arlene Burler, Dr. Wallace Bloom, Robert Burns, Ann Coben, Israel Cohen, Jean Croft, Catherine Hope Dankowski, Joseph M. Davis, Ann Callahan Dick, Eliza Fisher, Sharon Koo Forspan, Ruth Cohen Frisch, Mignon Gabay, Tenny Gans, Ruth L. Glasgow, Carrie Green, Morton Greenberg, Florence Gross, Saul Gross, Milton Guggenheim, Ann L. Hayes, Vera Hubaum, William Hyman, Peggy Kaplan Eisenberg, James Callison, Perry Pete Callison, Yale Kalmans, Leonard Carpel, Celia Marie Kaufman, Myrna Klein, Judith Krape, Madeline G. Landsman, Milton Lebo, Dr. Joseph Lehman, Dr. William Leon, Julia Lerner, Jacob Levine, Isidore Levinson, Victoria Levy, Judge William W. Lipset, Robert Livingston, Howard Miller, Sam Pearl, Jack Benjamin Pollock, Rolando Joseph Polson, Daniel Rafkin, Francis Rifkin, Louis Ricklin, George Ringel, Milton Earl Rabinowitz, Aaron Rodkin, Raquel Chayette Ronai, Anne Rosenblatt, Ruth Roth, Isaac Sack, Hyman Sachs, Ed Schieber, Herbert Serrata, Helen Schaff, Philip Scora, Henry Louis Solomonson Sr., Sam Strauss, Arthur Strelke, Isidore Arnold Victor, Rove H. Weil, Scott Wenzel, Marilyn Westheimer, Joanne Wygotsky, and Rhoda Zaynar. We also think of those who have been buried in the past 30 days, whose family and friends are in a mourning period of Shloshim. We remember Helene Ingram and Hadassah Langbaum. To all of these names, we add those which are in our hearts each and every day as we rise together as one community for Kaddish Yatom on page 294. Yitzgadal v'yitzkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv imru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'mei almaya, yitzbarach v'yishtabach v'yitzpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudasha b'richu, La'ela mikol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, amen. You may be seated. It is my honor to call forward Debbie Roos, President of our Board of Trustees, to deliver tonight's announcements.
I'd like to welcome everyone, and I'm so glad that you could join us in our sanctuary or in your own sacred space. I'd like to wish a mazel tov to Isaac Gelfand and his parents, Dr. Cheryl Horlin and Jonathan Gelfand, his grandparents, Drs. Joyce and Stephen Gelfand, Vivian Horlin, and his entire extended family. I'd also like to thank Isaac, Jonathan, Cheryl, and Isaac's sister, Alexandra, for lighting candles this evening. We hope you can join us tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. when we will continue to celebrate Isaac's becoming a bar mitzvah as a community. Many of us have been blessed to be part of the PJ Library family. We may have created a pretty big collection of great Jewish kids' books. If by now you have gently used PJ Library books that your children have outgrown or are simply not reading anymore, please consider recycling them in our PJ Library collection box in the Oppenheimer Library now through September 12th. With these gently used books, we'll help our grandparents build their own PJ Library book collection to share with their special little people. I'd like to remind you that the 2022-23 religious school registration is open for students preschool age 3 through post-confirmation grade 12. Check out the weekly email on how to register and to see what new things are happening. If you have any questions, please contact Ellen Barshop, Director of Congregational Learning, or Sarah Planto, Religious School Administrator. As you can tell, masks are still in vogue in our congregation, in our building. Social distancing remains in place, and babysitting remains closed for now, but stay tuned, there's a plan. Indoor food service, including our pre-Shabbat oneg, is discontinued for the time being. Cooler weather may allow us to bring some of that stuff back. Please get your vaccinations and boosters. These tools help make our congregation and our city safer for all. We're looking for ways to bring normal back to synagogue while considering our collective well-being. All of our worship services and some of our programming events are live streamed. If you're unable to be at Temple in person, please join us online. Going to Temple means being wherever our congregation is, not necessarily being at 211 Belknap. Everything going on at Temple is listed on our website calendar and in our weekly email, which arrives in your inbox around 4 p.m. on Thursday. Shabbat Shalom.
Our closing song is Oseh Shalom, which can be found on page 62. Please rise.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.